Do you want to feel good at Fridays pushing your code, knowing that it will work? Do you want to create professional products? Well, let's just get started with testing. Today I'm going to show you how to write API tests for complete beginners. I'm going to use C# and MSTest. I have an article about this. I'm going to link to it in the description. So let's get started then. What you need to do is install Visual Studio. Now open Visual Studio, click Create New Project, and you can start searching for MSTest. And the first one appearing here with the C# icon. Let's click Next. And call it whatever you want. Let's just stick with this and choose a folder. Click Next. I'm choosing .NET 7. .NET 6 is another problem as well. So you can create this kind of test project inside another solution if you have already a solution you want to test, or another project. You can create multiple test solutions inside. Let's see, we can add new project here, and I could have added another test project. But this tutorial doesn't test C# code itself. We're going to test an API. So there we have the usings here. So this global using is everywhere in all the other C# code. So we don't need to create that here. So let's just take a look at the article then. We have a test class, as we see, and we're gonna write some methods. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, I'm just gonna drag this over here so we can start creating the test. So the first thing we want to do is arrange. This means we want to set up the conditions and dependencies for the tests. And the next thing we want to do is act. We're gonna execute the code or behavior being tested. And the last thing we need to do is to assert. Check if the actual result matches the expected result. Create an HTTP client. And we want to have an endpoint, just call it endpoint URL. And I'm just gonna copy this endpoint URL like this. So the arrange phase is finished here in this case. HTTP response message. There we go. So that will work. We want to have response content. And read it as a string in this case. So there's other ways to do it. We can do this with C# as well, but I'm going to show you this way right now with JSON. So I'm just going to paste some code here. We want JSON document. You're importing system text JSON for that. And we're going to parse that, and we're going to get the root element. This is the root element. We're getting all we're getting the ID, title, and all of this. Some variables based on this. So we're gonna get the ID, and we want to make it as an integer because that's what we're expecting. And we're also gonna add title and price as a string and decimal. So Last thing we want to do now is assert that it's working. So I'm writing here assert is instance of type and type of integer. Let's go to the test and you can click Test Explorer. Then the Test Explorer should appear. I like it to have it on the bottom so I can have a good overview and make it quite big when I'm writing a lot of tests. So let's just build this solution and go back to Test Explorer and let's just test this. No, run, right click and run. So it should work properly. It's not running for some reason. You have to create it as a task. And there we go, save, and let's try to run it again. There we go, so we can see that it has passed because it is an integer. So we can test if it's a string. We should get an error. Let's just right click the test method again. Yeah, it's expecting a string, so it's not a string. So that seems to work fine. Now we can check the other instances as well. Let's just copy this one and check the title. And we want to check if that is a string. It's important to make checks that it's not giving correct or green answer even though you have a wrong test. So you want to check if you're checking the JSON properly. So in this case, let's just watch this JSON. You can see here, we don't want this to be, if we're checking this as a string, it shouldn't be confirmed. So let's check the price then. So we're gonna write title here, and it's gonna try to extract the decimal from the title, but it should give an error when we're checking the instance type. So let's try that out. So it seems to work. Let's try to write price again here. And it should work. Yeah. So there we go. We got the test methods to work. And maybe we want the title length as well. So we can assert that it's is true. And we want to check if the title string has a length bigger than 5. As well, give a message. Expected. There we go. Actually, now we are not in control of this API. So we're gonna get a length longer than 5 characters. Like this. But let's just say 100 then. So to check, first we can check that it's giving an error. Give 200 here. So we get this error message. So it's a good practice to write comprehensive error messages. So let's just test what we really want to test then. To be over maybe 5 then. Right click and run. So there we go. That's hopefully a basic understanding you can use to get started with API testing. There's multiple ways of doing this. If you have any thoughts about best ways to do this, please leave a comment or give feedback to how this is done. If you want more like this, please give me a heads up so I can make more content like this. Okay, good luck.